we're going to go back this morning now to the 1950s, because more than 60 years ago, and I know that there'll be some of you listening now who'll remember this vividly, more than 60 years ago, people living in Quinton were left shocked by the murder of Sweetshop owner Fred Jeffs. And it's a crime which remains unsolved as of today. Now, since then, his great-nephew, Graeme Rose, has been trying to uncover the truth about what happened. And today, he's launching a new 7-part podcast about the murder. The great-nephew of Fred, Graeme Rose, is with us now. He's the writer and presenter of the podcast, Fred Jeffs, The Sweetshop Murder. It sent a chill down my spine just listening to that. How are you doing, Graeme?
I'm doing great, Dad. Yeah, very, very well.
So just remind us then what happened to Fred.
He was running the sweet shop at 12 Stanley Road in Quinton, right on the borders of Sandwell and Birmingham. And on Maundy Thursday, which would have been, of course, perhaps the busiest day of the year in the sweet shop calendar, customers noted that he was acting in slight and agitated way. There's something not quite right. And a mystery woman came into the shop, and he was seen giving her chocolates and whispering, "I'll see you later." And then when he locked up the shop at 9, and he went presumably to meet her and to walk his dog, and that's the last people saw of him. So it's believed that he was attacked in the woods and disposed of, and there was money missing. So there's clearly a robbery motive, but everything points to something much bigger, much more organised in a way. It was very well planned, so it wasn't a bungled robbery. I mean, this was a very malicious attack, and over the years, there's been lots of speculation. The police had a quite an extensive investigation initially, but it dried up, and curiously, it's remained unsolved to this day. So I was determined to just try and dig around and find out whether there's more out there, really.
And it's obviously something that the way people remember it. It was your family. So has it always been something that you've wanted to do, just to maybe bring this, back out there and just try and get answers?
Well, I don't think I realised how fascinating it was generally, this story. I mean, it was curious to me because, when my nan told me, when I was about 10 or 11, I thought, oh, blimey, that's a bit odd, that's a bit dark. But it was the fact that people didn't want to talk about it that really spiked my interest, because I thought there's more out there. and when an opportunity came along to interview some people and find out and scratch the surface and just find out what people knew, whether people remembered at all, oh my goodness, then the floodgates opened, because the more I scratched, the more it yielded. And I still remain convinced there are so many people out there who do know things. But of course, after this amount of time, there's so much conjecture and speculation. This is more about storytelling as it is about, the truth. But in itself, I find that utterly fascinating, because just to hear the voices of the people of Worley and Sandwell and telling their stories and their memories is so rich.
Have you, without giving away obviously any spoilers, because you want people to listen to it, have you learnt more things over the course of doing this documentary series?
Yeah, I mean, the thrill for me has been meeting people, because there's a community of people out there who are all bound together by this tragic event, actually. And they all share these memories. But, I've spoken to the boy now in his 70s who picked up the murder weapon without realising, who looked the murderer in the eye, he's convinced. I've spoken to a boy now in his 70s who was one of the boys who discovered the body upon Wasson in Sandwell Valley, who was there at the time. And to be able to talk to these people and to go straight into that locked-in concrete memory of 63 years ago has been fantastic. All these details are like jigsaw puzzle pieces for me. And my job has been, putting the jigsaw together. There are still holes, but,
Really interesting story. One of the great mysteries, isn't it, of modern times, really, in the West Midlands. I wish you well with that. So that's Graeme Rose. And if you want to hear it, it's Fred Jeffs, The Sweetshop Murder.